It sounds like the Liberal housing plan is already falling apart.
How many housing starts will Canada see this year?
To the member, we're on track at this point, about 14% higher than last September, the CMHC number. So we're tracking north of 250,000 starts this year. If it's annualized,
What's the
closer
number?
to 280, but somewhere between 240 and 280 would be my.
Your housing department says that housing starts will be down this year.
The stats are from CMHC. The latest stats came in for September, which showed us tracking 14% above last September in terms of housing starts across the country.
Now, your government announced back in March that you would build 500,000 homes a year. And with that announcement, if you look at the numbers, that means that you would have to build 57 homes per hour, per day, every year. Are you on track to build 50? Are you currently building 57 homes an hour?
To the member, we are not. Canada is not building at that scale. That is a longer term
government
goal.
promised
We're
back in
looking at
March.
over a decade doubling construction up to that level, but that certainly will take many years to achieve, given the changes that need to be made in the industry. At this point, we don't have the labor force to manufacture at that scale, and that's why Build Canada Homes is focused on the manufacturing side to make the
So when
building
is
of
the
housing more
first year?
efficient.
When is the first year Canada will build 500,000 homes?
Well, the language that we've used is over the next decade. So I think it's reasonable. It's still very aggressive and ambitious to get to 500,000 over the next decade, but that's what we need to scale up
I
to.
mean, giving yourself that much leeway without any specifics is a little bit misleading. Can you tell us what year would be the first year over the next decade that Canada will see 500,000 homes being built in the year?
The goal is to get to 500,000, to double construction over the next decade. So it's ramping up to that level. That will start to make up the ground of the gap that we have in housing supply, as identified by the stats and CMHC research.
Well, your own housing department, CMHC, says that housing starts will decline next year by 4.1%. How do you square that?
Well, that's a projection. We can only work with the facts we have in front of us, which for September were a 14% increase over last year, or that is what we're tracking. Pre-sales are down in some markets, Vancouver and Toronto, as the examples that we're concerned about. And that's why we're pulling out all stops with Build Canada Homes, with measures like this that will get more affordable housing built, that will get home ownership opportunities with new homes that the industry can build. We want to see
Minister,
this.
why are sales down?
Sales are, given the global economic conditions right now, I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, particularly in the
Minister,
big cities.
Are you saying global factors have something to do with Canadian home prices? Like, are you saying that we import our own land and homes?
What I'm saying through the chair is that many buyers are concerned about the current economic circumstances, the tariffs from the US that have been extremely
but home affordability
challenging
was
for
out
the
of
Canadian
control
economy.
before the tariffs hit. Your government was responsible for doubling housing costs in this country before the tariffs hit.
Well, I can speak from experience in my city in Vancouver. We had a housing crisis 20
Which
years
has
ago.
one of the worst records, by the way.
And 20 years ago, that affordable housing crisis was already impacting us, and we saw for 10 years the Harper government do nothing to make housing more affordable in my city, and that
Housing
problem
was
has
half the
proliferated.
cost when the Harper government was in.
And it doubled. In Vancouver, you look at the housing
After
market
you
between
became mayor,
2005 and 2015.
Well,
There was
housing costs have
dramatic
doubled
rise.
since 2015.
And
And Minister, respectfully, your government spent $89 billion on housing, supposedly, to make housing costs come down. Rents and mortgages have doubled since your government spent more than $89 billion. Now your government is creating a fourth bureaucracy after the first three were responsible for doubling housing costs that made sure that young people lost the dream of home ownership. 9 out of 10 have given up on home ownership. And unless someone has the bank of mom and dad in this country, they don't have enough money for a down payment on this house. If the first three bureaucracies failed and you spent more than $89 billion to accomplish all that, What's this fourth bureaucracy going to do?
Through the chair, I am very confident that Build Canada Homes, with an initial $13 billion investment, will be able to make housing more affordable for Canadians. We are
Last
seeing,
10 years of your government have proven wrong.
through the chair, I was elected 6 months ago, and so the government that I'm part of now is rolling out this tax measure to save first-time
It's all
home
the same
buyers
ministers, it's all the same
$50,000.
policies, so we don't believe that there's anything new.
This is a new tax measure, through the chair, to save first-time home buyers $50,000 on a new home.
Okay,
and
I
that
have,
will
I have
help
limited time.
with
I'll ask you
affordability.
one last thing. CMHC executives received bonuses every year, even though housing starts decreased. And housing has doubled in this country. Can you confirm if CMHC executives will receive bonuses this year for doubling housing costs?
Very brief response.
Through the chair, I can get back to the member with those details. I haven't seen the latest on CMHC bonuses for the year.
Please,
Great.
please,
Thank
we
you. Thank
expect
you,
you to
Mr.
get
Hillen.
back.
That's time.
He was asked what year Canada would meet the threshold of 500,000 homes, new homes, and he said within the next decade. There is some serious Stockholm syndrome going on in this country if we have to go through another decade of what we just had. The saying, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, is pure insanity. And that is literally what we are witnessing at the highest levels of our government.
Minister, do you believe the housing market in Canada has become more or less affordable since the Liberals were elected in 2015?
Through the chair, housing has become less affordable probably since the day I was born. By nature, it has increased over many decades, and certainly over the past couple of decades since my first election in 2005. On the West Coast, prices were escalating quite dramatically, as you would know.
Do you think the policy decision by the Liberal government to effectively double or even triple immigration rates into this country contributed to the rapid increase in prices and the corresponding decrease in affordability?
Through the chair, I can't speak to the immigration policies that precede my time here in Ottawa, but
Do you think it had an
certainly-
effect on price? I mean, you're the housing minister, so do you think the rapid increase in immigration negatively, or increased housing prices and negatively impacted affordability?
Through the chair, there are a number of factors that affect housing affordability. Certainly, interest rates escalating over the years recently.
Is immigration
were a big
one of them?
factor. Immigration is a factor. There are a number of drivers depending on how much we're building and how many people are in the market.
So you would acknowledge the rapid increases in immigration rates decreased housing affordability in Vancouver and other cities across Canada?
I would certainly acknowledge there are many factors that have made housing less affordable across the country, including the federal government for several decades not investing enough in non-market housing.
Do you think the policy to double or triple immigration rates was the right one as it pertains to housing prices?
Through the chair, I'm here to talk about the first-time home buyers tax break on GST. So that's where I want to focus my remarks. That's why I'm before the committee.
You have no opinion on, as it pertains to immigration rates, as you're Minister of Housing, so as it pertains to housing prices. You've got no opinion on the matter.
Exactly. I'm the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, and I'm here to speak about the first-time home buyers tax break.
Okay. What city or major city, what major city in Canada would you say has the worst housing affordability in Canada right now?
Through the chair, well, our housing affordability markets, Vancouver and Toronto, have both had the most challenges in recent years.
Vancouver recently was called the third least affordable housing market in the world. As the former mayor of Vancouver, do you find it somewhat ironic that you were chosen to now lead this policy file on the national level?
Through the chair, quite the opposite. I think having lived through many challenges, getting affordable housing built and seeing prices escalate in my city as mayor, seeing inactive governments like the Harper government that did not deliver on making housing more affordable.
So
and
what?
then
So
the
having
change we've seen in recent
having
years.
Minister having housing increase while you were mayor is the prerequisite to being appointed as housing minister? You think that's a positive? Like that's a positive experience?
Through the chair, I think understanding how housing works at the local level and understanding the importance of strong partnerships with the federal and provincial governments is critical to understanding how we make housing more affordable.
I do remember the old adage that you learn more from your failures than your successes, although this might be taking it to another level. I mean, you oversaw the creation of the Vancouver Affordable Housing Agency, which was established to create more housing units primarily. You also promised, you ran as mayor to end homelessness in Vancouver, and I want to give you credit. You were the longest consecutive serving mayor in Vancouver's history. But let's look at the record on that key promise. Between 2008 and 2018, housing prices soared. Homelessness got even worse. Today, both issues are worse than ever before. So why should Canadians trust you to tackle this issue today as Canada's housing minister?
Through the chair, I appreciate the member citing some of the examples which did yield very good results. The Vancouver Affordable Housing Agency has built thousands and thousands of affordable units of housing in partnership with the federal government in recent years, has delivered significant affordability in Vancouver. We have seen challenges, but also significant investments in affordable housing. And that's what we need to see across the country. Frankly,
Minister, quickly, just in my last bit of time here, you previously said that you did not believe housing prices needed to come down in Canada. Do you still hold that view?
Through the chair, to be clear, we need to see average prices of housing for Canadians come down. We need to build a lot more non-market housing to bring down that average cost. That's the focus here, is more supply that is affordable and targeted at the people who need it the most, like first-time home buyers being able to access the $50,000.
Multiple times, he completely skips over the Trudeau era and goes right to the Harper era. This current government is an absolute disaster. We have a housing minister whose track record in Vancouver is an absolute nightmare. A public safety minister who says one thing in private and another thing in public. Numerous ministers from the Trudeau era who were only there because of their name. Just in case you forgot, Chrystia Freeland literally jumped ship for a second time. And leading the charge is an absolute goofball who lied his way through an entire election and has not delivered on one promise. It's one thing after another with this government, and we are only 8 months in. And if the budget does not pass, we will see an election very quickly. The main problem is, Pierre and the Conservatives won't be able to do anything unless they get a majority government. Based on the polls right now, which are changing every single day, and who knows if you can actually believe it, it seems like Pierre has a slight advantage over Carney and would only win a minority government. This would give the Conservatives a chance to build a coalition with the Bloc or NDP, but we have seen numerous times now the entire House shut down every single Conservative motion. So it really feels like the only way they would actually be able to get things done is through a majority. But anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comment section below, and have a good one.